Yo, what's up guys, I'm Twiggity. In today's video, we're going to be going over why I think Eomm is probably not real. I put probably because I'm not 100% sure if it's real or not, and we will all never know. But let's go ahead and get into it. Today, we're going to be discussing why I think Eomm is not in Marvel Rivals. Disclaimer, I have not done any testing. Yes, I played the game. No, I'm not an expert, and I'm just a guy with opinions. Feel free to discuss in the comments, or even ask me questions on certain opinions, or just point out certain things. Let's go ahead and get into it. First, I believe it's the community sentiment. I believe that most Marvel Rivals players believe that Eomm exists, and they think that their games are rigged. And you can ask about any Marvel Rivals player and they will say that their games are rigged or that Eomm exists. Once word got out earlier on in the season 0, season 1, I feel like people started adopting this as their reason for losing. And here are just a few key words that I believe that some people have been using that further added on to this belief. Eomm agent, get off after 2 losses, and forced losses. Now those are just all common phrases that are said throughout the community, and I just believe that it added on to this mindset. I believe that community mindset, conf knowledge, general game knowledge, and encounters are the reason as well. I say this because all of this stuff adds up together into winning games. That's it, literally. And also I wrote some things that people need to understand, which were: one tricking is not good, players can have bad games, and throwers are an outlier. Those things are also big things around in the community that people have a hard time with. And yeah, they're really just all outliers. You know, you can't have a perfect game every time, or your teammates can't have a perfect game every time. And that's not the reason you're stuck in freaking gold or stuck in GM, you know? Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. We have lack of accountability / ego. No one takes accountability of their mistakes when losing, and especially when it's their fault. And this happens a lot in the lower ranks. People will blame their teammates for just losing in general, or if the game's not going a certain way, they'll just start blaming their teammates and never really look at themselves as the main, okay, I'm the reason we're losing, or I could be doing this better, you know? But this is because humans naturally look for ways to prove that they're doing good and are not the issue, especially when it comes to gaming. This is called the self-serving bias. And yeah, the self-serving bias just refers to the tendency to attribute internal personal factors to positive outcomes, but external situation factors to negative outcomes. Basically, what this is saying is that whenever you are winning, you're going to say it's because me. I'm doing this good, so we are winning. But whenever you're losing, instead of blaming yourself, you're going to blame your teammates. You're going to say, okay, my tank isn't doing this, my DPS isn't doing this, my support isn't healing me, my tank isn't walking forward, you know? And I'm subject to this too. All of this stuff we're going to go over today, I'm subject to it too. I do this stuff a lot, especially what's on this page. I do this all the time on stream if you come to my streams. But yeah. And what this looks like in game is blaming your teammates. So saying I'm not getting healed or my tanks aren't walking forwards. That's what that can look like. Now, sometimes stuff like that really does happen when you're just not getting healed or your tanks aren't walking forwards. And I mean, you know, sometimes that's okay. But just remember to check yourself. If you're in a winning situation or the game is close and your tank's not doing something right, then sometimes... Oh, wait. I did not say that right. Okay, but freaking, like I was saying, you know, if your tank is walking forwards, but it feels like they're not walking forwards, or they're playing a certain way to win the game or change the game in a certain way, but you just don't see it, and you're just blaming why isn't my tank doing this? Why isn't my tank doing that? Why isn't my DPS killing this? Why isn't my DPS doing that? You know, sometimes you'll start looking at that and you'll forget about yourself, and you'll start making excuses, which is the second point. You'll start making excuses okay, we lost this game because my tank, we lost this game because my supports weren't healing me, we lost this, I see people saying they want to see a healing receive stat all the time, so that way they can start blaming their supports on like, why wasn't I getting healed? You know, it's an excuse, you know, especially for DPS, because they can always work on their positioning. There is always more that they can do, or more that your team can do to improve and play better, but a lot of people just never realize that. This can also look like picking out specific stats, mainly the ones you did the best in, you know? Things like final blows. If you have the most final blows and you lost the game, you're going to be like, what is my team doing? Why did we lose? I had the most final blows. And yes, this can also look like I had X amount of healing over their healers and this and that and that. You know, it's just picking out specific stats that you did the best in and calling out your teammates and saying that you're the reason we lost because of this. When in reality, most of the times, stats don't even matter. If stats matter, you would just go on the character that farms the most amount of stats the quickest and win every single time. So stats don't really matter. It's about the value you provide in the game. And I think a lot of people forget that, and they just need to learn to go back and look, okay, did I provide value doing this, or was I given the value doing that, you know? But this can cause people to feel that they should be in a higher rank than they are, or that they deserve. So you could say, I'm putting out all these stats, but I'm hard stuck in diamond. Okay, well, yes, you're putting out all these stats, but are you providing enough value to win the games to get you into GM? And then are you providing enough value in those games in GM to keep ranking up and keep pushing forwards, you know? This self-serving bias can also cause toxicity amongst the team, which is not good, and it happens a lot, especially if the player's in voice chat or if they're using text chat. I've had multiple games where my teammates are like, okay, you're not doing anything on DPS, I'm gonna go DPS and leave one healer for the rest of the team. Now you have 3 DPS, 2 tank, and 1 healer. And obviously you cannot work off of that comp, you know? There's no way that you're going to be able to pull that off in most games, most situations. So it's things like that. Or you guys aren't doing anything, so I'm going to sit and spawn. Boom. Simple. Now you have a third. This is what causes that. People only look at themselves, look at what they're doing, and not looking at how they might be causing pain to the game, pain towards progress, you know? It can also just affect their gameplay and how they play too. Yeah. And yes, I feel that this has spread amongst the community a lot, because I witnessed this a lot in my games where people would just start yelling at people for no reason. This happens mainly when we're losing though. When we're winning, it's not as much. And there's simple ways to fix this, and it's simply being aware if you're affecting your team negatively. Are you dying too much? Are you not healing people? Are you not keeping the people alive as your supports? Are you not walking forwards and holding space as a tank? Are you not doing your job? Are you not peeling? Peeling is important, but like people get mad and say that their tanks aren't peeling, and it's just a lot, you know? And also, you need to understand that your teammates aren't perfect. They are not robots. They cannot handle the front. Your tanks cannot handle the front line, handle you, like peel you every single time with 100% accuracy. They're not perfect. You cannot expect your teammates to be perfect every single time. Instead of flaming your teammates, advise them on what they can do better. Say, hey, we got a Black Panther on us in the back. Can we please swap thing and please get some peel in the back line? Simple. It's nice. It's not mean. It's not saying, okay, tanks, you guys suck at your job. Please, someone go thing. Please come help us. You know, it's not begging. It's not being ruthless towards your teammates. It's just simple. It's nice. It's calm and collected and coordinated, you know? But yeah, let's go ahead and move into the next point. Force loss streaks and losing streaks. Okay. This one I feel so much because I go through this so much, and and I was a firm believer in this, but after really thinking about it, it makes sense. Forced losses happen. Players need to understand that they cannot win 100% of their games. This is a huge one. If you could win 100% of your games, you will be rank 1 and on top of the leaderboard, 500, 600 elo ahead of everyone else in eternity. People need to understand that you cannot win 100% of your games. At best, you're probably going to win 50 to 70% of your games. And that brings us to this next point. The 30-40-30 rule. 30% of your games are unwinnable no matter what you change or do. 40% of your games are a coin flip up to how you play to determine the outcome of the game, and 30% of your games are going to be automatic wins. I got this from my coach, and this is just something that kind of brought back up when I was really thinking about this and making this presentation, but it really is just true, because you'll get the 30% of your games that are just completely unwinnable, that just no matter what you do, you'll get throwers, you'll get DCs. No, the other team is just simply better. No matter what you do, you're going to lose that game, and that happens about 30% of the time. 40% of your games are coin flip. That's if you're playing good, if you're doing your job right, and overall you're just being helpful to your team. It's what you do, how you personally perform is going to affect the outcome of that game. And then 30% of your games are just winnable. And that 30% is because, again, the other team could get a DC. The other team could be less skilled. The other team could have a multitude of problems that just cause you to automatically win those games, And after really thinking about it, I do think this is true. Okay. And the last thing, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a cognitive bias that causes people to search for and interpret and remember information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs. If you believe that all you do in Marvel Rivals is lose, you're only going to remember those loss streaks. I can count on the fingers of my hands how many loss streaks I've gone over 10 plus losing streaks. It's over like 4 or 5 at this point. But I don't remember. I remember maybe 1 or 2 times that I've actively went on a winning streak, and I don't remember the number of the winning streaks. I just remember going on a great winning streak, So if you believe you only lose on Marvel Rivals when you get on, then that's all you're going to remember, and you're going to have a negative connotation with the game. As soon as you get on, okay, I'm probably going to lose this game. Okay, I'm probably going to lose this rank up game. If you believe that all you do is lose on your rank up games, that's all you're going to have, and that's not going to be good going into that game. Your rank up game, you want to be ready, you want to be prepared, because you're going to be nervous, especially if it's your first time trying to hit a new peak. You're going to be nervous, and having that negative bias on, okay, I always lose my rank up games, that is just not good, It just doesn't help you. Okay. This one, team comp issues. This one is more on the game balance side. A lot of people will get 3 to 4 insta-lock DPS, or too many tanks, or too many support players. This is just simply due to the game being open queue. The game is open queue 6v6. You are likely to get 3 tanks players, or 3 DPS players, or 5 DPS players. You never know. So it's always good to have a backup character that you can switch to in case of this happening. And the reasons that this happens actually is because tank and support aren't as fun as DPS for most people. So I find support fun to play. I find Magneto fun to play. Every other tank is like, okay. DPS is extremely fun to play if done right. So yeah, like DPS is just the most fun role. That's usually right amongst most people. There isn't much diversity on what you can play. On tank, Eomm is a really strong hard carry right now. Thing is really strong, Hulk is really strong, and Magneto is really strong as well. Those 4 tanks are basically what all people are playing right now. They are meta deterrent right now. Not deterrent, but they are super meta right now. Supports, Loki Luna or Loki Luna Cloak, or Yeah, that's pretty much it. Loki, Luna, and Cloak are the 3 best supports in the game, and pretty much the only ones you can run unless if you're running a specific comp. Just the amount of util and stuff they bring, it just makes them the best. So there isn't much diversity, which causes people that want to play DPS, because on DPS, pretty much everything works. You got Spider-Man, you got Hela, you got Phoenix, you got Punisher, you got Star-Lord, you got Iron Man, you got Scarlet Witch. Even Scarlet Witch works nowadays in the right comps. You got all these DPS heroes that will work as long as like they're played in the right way, you know? As long as you know how to play them, they will work. So it's just more of the reason you're getting weird team comps and more than one role. It's just due to people wanting to play DPS because there's more option and variety in DPS that you can play. And the last point is, of course, just there's too many DPS. There's 21 DPS, 10 tanks, and 9 supports in this game, which is crazy. There's too many DPS in the game, and they really need to start adding tanks and supports. This will cause a surplus of DPS players. There being too many DPS players, it will cause a surplus of DPS players compared to tank and support, especially tank. Tank, a lot of people do not like playing tank, surprisingly. Like, that is still the least played role. It was like that in Overwatch, and it's still like that in Marvel Rivals. And again, the simple way to beat this is by learning other heroes. Learning other heroes is freaking huge. Also, being comfortable with swapping. Sometimes you're not meant to be DPS in that game. Sometimes you're not meant to be tank in that game. Sometimes you're not meant to be support in that game. Play what your team needs. Be for the team, not for yourself. Okay, before we go on to this next slide, I would like to have another disclaimer. I am not an expert in understanding MMR, matchmaking ranking, but I'm going to try to give my best opinions because I believe that it is important to this discussion in this matter. MMR, the rank we cannot see. MMR is a hidden skill rank that isn't shown in game. This usually represents your true skill in the game compared to your visible rank. And again, I'm not 100% sure on this because this is just off of a brief read and some thoughts about it over a few hours. And yeah, so usually this is what represents your true skill in the game, but I could be wrong on this. Now, I believe that in Marvel Rivals, the MMR system might be a little flawed or not as accurate as it should be. This could be due to many things, but I think that this is what's causing Eomm. Now, the thought process is that it's just giving you too much MMR and then giving you too little MMR when you need it. So it's just matching you with the wrong people when you need it, and it just causes a whole little issue that's what's causing what we call Eomm. But yes, that would basically cause your games to feel worse or too easy depending on which way it swings. And then alongside this, it will cause a lot of volatility in the lower ranks because of the amount of elo gained and the amount of elo you lose in things like chrono shields. All that would cause lower ranks, especially like that gold and below, to be horrible, especially during the rank reset. The rank resets will make this, I think the rank resets are making this horrible. It just adds on to it because your MMR is at a certain level, but then if they're not resetting your MMR, so it stays the same, it stays at this peak, like let's just say it stays at 1500, but it shoots you down to diamond. Well, let's just say 1500 is eternity level and you're in diamond. If you go down more, you're gonna be 1500 facing like 900 to 800s, you know? So I think that alongside the rank resets and all the other stuff, this is what's causing Eomm. This is the main thing I think that's causing Eomm, besides the community sentiment part. This is the part that we cannot see or manage as a community that's really affecting and causing Eomm. But yeah, how can we deal with this as a community? First, the community needs to mentally get better. Stop blaming your teammates. Take some accountability. Improve your gameplay. Get better at the game. Stop encouraging throwing. Stop blaming the matchmaking. It's not the matchmaking's fault. You're stuck in your rank. And accept where you belong and that you need to get better. Now, I believe these things are true. If we as a community got better at doing these things, I feel like a lot more of us would rank up, or that more of us would see success throughout the game and feel or have a better positive, more gaming experience in Marvel Rivals. Sorry, I don't know why that was so hard to say. But yeah, I feel like that's just really what's needed from us as a community to get better at Marvel Rivals. Okay, and then with the dev side, I think they need to deal with smurfing. Smurfing comes back to the Eomm issue, because the Smurfs in the lower rank, when they start playing good, they're getting more elo. They're getting like 30 to 40 elo per game if they're playing really good. Let's say a Celestial or Eternity DPS player goes back and plays on a bronze account. He's getting like over 50 elo in bronze, and then like 40, 50 in every other rank. So they're just shooting him up the rank. They're trying to shoot him up the rank, which means his MMR is really high, and he's playing with people with super low MMR. So the game is just swung in the wrong way, and the game is going to try really hard to balance it, which gives the other team harder opponents for the team with that one guy with the super high MMR and the teammates at the regular bronze MMR. And the game is going to feel really not fun for the bronzes, but really fun for the Eternity player, because he's just going to be able to spin on them because he's super high. He's still above these guys, but it's not going to be fun for the other teammates, you know? And I believe that's what's causing issues. So the smurfing is causing an issue. They need to deal with throwers. They are already dealing with throwers. I've seen the recent patches. They are giving penalties. They are making you lose rank for throwing in ranked. But again, if they don't deal with the smurfing problem, then this just negates it, because if someone wants to go and get all the way to Celestial and then just start throwing games, they're gonna get timed out. Of course, it's gonna take them a really long time, because they're gonna get like hour bans and eventually a season ban, but they can still go in and just throw games, you know. And of course, crashes happen, you know, DCs happen, but just straight up throwing a game like that needs to be stopped. Okay, and they need to balance heroes better. Every season there is something that was always super busted. Usually it's either the new character, but there is usually something that is super busted, or a new team up comes into the game that is super busted, which makes other healers not as viable. And they just need to do a better job at hero balance and making all characters viable, or all characters useful in most situations. I think they need to address Eomm. They need to address it, because we will never know if it's true. I could be making this whole discussion and Eomm could never be in the game. So I think they need to address it, saying whether it's real or it's not, or how they do the matchmaking. They need to communicate that with us, because as of right now, a lot of people are leaving the game, and there's a lot of mixed or negative reviews on Steam because of the Eomm. A lot of people point that out, and that's what they think is like making the game just not fun for them. MMR transparency. They need to be transparent with the MMR. Honestly, I think they could simply just do it like a number next to your name. How they have it in the beginning screen where it shows your rank and like your player banner. They literally could just put a number, let's just say or they could do a lobby average. A lobby average would be like, okay, this lobby is at 1,500 MMR. That's it, you know? And it could show at the end, alongside your rank going up, it could show your MMR going up or down, or if it stays the same. I think that could just be like a quality of life thing, because I feel like if we could see the MMR, we would know how close each other is close to, like, in skill. You know, if someone's 20 points ahead of me or 100 points ahead of me, then I know I'm gonna get stomped by that dude, you know? But I also know that if I win against that dude, I'm gonna get a ton of elo from him, you know? So I think that just helps with making it more clean, I guess, if that makes sense. so that way it actually feels like we have somewhat of control, or just some way to tell how a game is going to go. And yeah, that's what I have to say for that. Okay, and again, sorry for this super long video, but thank you for listening to my TED Talk. If you made it this far, I stream on Twitch every day pretty much, and I have a Discord server. I would love if you guys came to my Twitch streams or joined. And yeah, that's really all I have for this discussion. If you guys have any thoughts at all, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will be reading them, because I feel like this is just something we should discuss as a community, because a lot of people say, oh, Eomm's not real, you just stuck at this rank, or Eomm is real and the game is bad, you know. So I really feel like this is just something we should talk about. Or if you haven't experienced it with Eomm, just go ahead and share that experience in the comments. And yeah, that's really all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, see you guys later. Peace.